Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim wa salatu wa salam ala Rasul al-Kareem. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh, and welcome to Fiqh al-Muamalat online course. And today we shall carry on the discussion we started on Murabahah, and we have covered the definition of Murabahah and some of the contracting parties aspects, and today we carry on the asset. So when we talk about the asset, we are talking basically on the subject matter. We are talking about Mawdu' al-Aqd, because from contract classifications, there is a subject matter, and the subject matter basically is a combination of the price and basically the asset, the price and the commodity. The price and this commodity or these assets could be tangible, intangible, could be movable, immovable. There are various criteria of this asset, but the bottom line, asset is what you are buying it or what you are selling. When it comes to the Murabahah, it is the subject of the trading of Murabahah, and we are going to cover some important aspects with regard to the asset in Murabahah. As a result of that, so the asset to be traded in Murabahah shall meet the following points. So few criteria, and you may say a Sharia condition has to be met in order to recognize the asset as a valid asset in order to be traded in the Murabahah transaction. First one is that the asset should be recognized by Sharia. So meaning that what you are buying, what you are selling, the subject matter, is recognized by Sharia as a permissible item, as a halal item, as a Sharia compliance asset. Like for example, a house, like a TV, like a motorbike, like a bike, like a book, any kind of asset which is recognized by Sharia will be allowed in Murabahah. The second point is that valuable, meaning the asset has a value from Sharia standpoint, because some of the asset has no value from Sharia view, and also from a market standpoint that this asset has a value. And as long as it is recognized by the market, al-urf al-tijari, this is a valuable asset, this has a value subject to trade. Basically, Sharia has no objection on that, to recognize that value from market perspective, of course, provided that this stand of our market or the urf does not violate the Sharia rules and principles. The other point is that this asset should be identifiable, meaning that you can identify what you are buying, what you are selling. Here we are talking about, for example, if you want to buy a house in a tower, so you have to identify the floor and the unit. If you're buying, a car among the 20 cars, you have to identify which car you want. You have 20, 30 motorbike, which bike you want. If you are having many books, hundreds of books, so which book you want to buy. And it goes like this. If you have livestock, 100, 200 sheep, cows, so which one you want. So this one, it's a very important to remove the degree of gharar and ambiguity between the two contracting party and make sure they are getting the right item. And also to be the sellers and the buyer to be on the same page. So because it may happen that the seller in his mind is one asset and the buyer in his mind a different asset. At the end of the day, the dispute may take place because they are not on the same page. So we have to identify the asset that you are going to buy in order to agree on the asset and agree on the price, and everyone will be mutually agree on what they are buying and what they are selling. The other point is that the asset should be deliverable, meaning ability to deliver the asset. So what you are buying, what you are selling could be delivered to you. So when you sell or when you purchase, the sellers is able to deliver this asset to you. It could be animal, it could be assets, it could be a TV, it could be whatever items you are buying, ability to deliver this one. And here scholars talk about, stray animal, prey animal that could not be sold because you don't have the ability to deliver the asset, or some asset in the chart. There are some obligations on that asset, so you cannot sell it, and so on and so forth. And some assets are not allowed to be sold, like for example waqaf. So you have to make sure that the subject is accommodate transactions of sales and accommodate delivery of the asset. So these assets are very important in the Murabaha, which whereby the asset should be recognized by Sharia, should be variable, should be identifiable, and should be deliverable in order to ensure that you are in a valid transactions. The other point is that the asset is already in existence and owned by the seller. So number one, the asset does exist already. So I'm talking about something present here between the what's so called in the hand of the seller. It could be in his office, could be in a warehouse, it could be in his house, it could be somewhere safe, but it is there. It doesn't mean in the session of the contract in Majlis al-Aqd, but what is important, it should be there somewhere in a safe place or a park or a store, whatever. It depends on the asset that we are talking about. But it should be existent. Why? Because we are talking about the non-permissibility of selling a non-existent item or something which is under construction, as we are going to see, because those are more subject to istisna contract. The other one is basically the asset should be owned by the seller. So the seller should have ownership over the asset. So the one who has no ownership, he's not allowed basically to sell you the asset unless there is an authorization or agency that basically give him a mandate to sell the asset. Otherwise, is not allowed to sell what you don't have. So that's the very important points to be observed in the asset of Murabaha to ensure transactions of Murabaha is valid. The other point I would like to cover is that Murabaha asset could be a tangible asset or intangible asset, meaning that the Murabaha could be assets and commodity, like for example cars, houses, various commodity that books, livestock, and just name it. But at the same time, in addition to the tangible asset, there are intangible assets that also recognized by Sharia, recognized by the market, subject to also Murabaha. And we are giving example here, like for example, IP, copyright, for example, the IP, the inventions, the innovations, the brands, the patent, the what's so called IPs, and many things could be software. If software, you can regard it as tangible or otherwise, because you can't touch basically the software. It's an applications, the apps, all this, whether they are really tangible or intangible, but definitely they are not like a car or a book that you can, or like a pen. Like for example, you can touch and carry and hold and deliver. So the delivery or the software is not something that you carry and give, even though sometimes it is in a CD, but normally it is it's selling it through the installations basically, through in the computer, and download it and run it accordingly. And some other also brands and innovations and patents that you cannot touch, like the apps and so on and so forth. So those tangible and intangible are regarded as asset as well, if they fulfill, of course, the criteria of the asset from a Sharia standpoint. And as a result of that, they could be part of the trade of Murabahah. I think we will stop here at the moment for the asset, and we should carry on the remaining aspect of the asset in the coming sessions. With that, thank you very much. And assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala.